there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bianca and I'm a content strategist and creator for small businesses and entrepreneurs alike. And today we are talking about sales calls, or as people call them, discovery calls. So if you have a service-based business like I do, chances are you have a no strings attached sort of complimentary call that you can meet up with your potential clients and see if you two are a good fit. Now, I know that discovery calls can be so daunting sometimes, especially when you're first starting out. I remember when I first started doing discovery calls for my brand new business, I was doing virtual assisting and kind of wasn't sure, what I wanted to offer. I wasn't really sure what my line of expertise was going to be. So it was really through trial and error that I did like some discovery calls, seeing what people were looking for and what people were interested in. And through practice, I was able to shift my mindset on discovery calls. And now I feel like it's a great opportunity to meet new people and figure out what they really need in their business. And it's just like a fun little chat. And I don't even get as nervous as I used to beforehand. It's still kind of nerve-wracking, obviously, because you want to make sure that you find the right fit for you and you want to land those dream clients. So you want to make sure that you make a great first impression. I found a couple of tips and tricks that have made my discovery calls so much easier, and I'm going to be telling you those secrets right now. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so first things first is that if you are on the hunt for some dreamy new clients, you got to make sure that people know that you are offering these amazing complimentary discovery calls. So you have to make sure to add these into your call to action when you're making social posts or any sort of promotional posts about your services. Make sure to talk about your services on your feed. I tend to, in the past, kind of like shy away from talking about my services, but people got to know what you offer. People got to know what you're bringing to the table. So make sure that you have something that is clear and easy to use so that people can book these discovery calls with you. So I make sure that I have something on my website that people can schedule a call with me. I personally use Calendly, but there are so many different amazing platforms out there that you can use. There's one on Squarespace that you can use. There's Appointee. There's like a whole bunch of different types of things that you can use. So you have to make sure that it's quick and easy and just simple for people to fill out and use. On my Calendly, I make sure that I ask a couple of questions, making sure I know where to find them, and so I can kind of get a little bit of background information of who they are, what their business is, and why they're looking for my kind of services, so that I can come prepared to the discovery call itself. So the questions that I like to put on my form before even meeting them virtually or in person are these types of questions. So first off, what their business is. What do they do? What do they offer? And I like to also ask for their website and their socials so that I can kind of get a feel as to what they've already done. I'll also ask what they're kind of looking for in terms of services, because sometimes people might think that it's some type of service, but in fact it is a completely different type of services that you're offering. Just in terms of like, especially if you're doing web services, you just want to make sure that those services align. And I also like to ask them if they've worked with someone like me in the past. So if they've worked with a virtual assistant, if they've worked with a content strategist, and how it went, just so that I can kind of get a little sense of their mindset coming into this call, so that, if they say like, I had a great experience with so-and-so, just if they've worked with someone, if they've outsourced before, so that I can kind of get a feel as to how they feel about outsourcing, and it'll kind of steer my call in a certain direction. Once you are armed with that information, you've got that call booked, then you are ready for your call. One thing that I've learned from a sales specialist that I really, really enjoy how to really start the conversation is that I like to ask them right off the bat what their main pain points are, so that I can kind of steer the conversation towards them instead of it kind of feeling like an interview. I want to know exactly what they're struggling with right off the bat, so that they can see how much I could be of help to them right away. So I first start off with showing them in like a nice way, like, let's just get right into the nitty-gritty. What are your pain points right now, or what are you really struggling with in your business? So they will explain to me, kind of what they're working on and what they're struggling with. And then we can have like kind of a more authentic exchange of information that way. Once your prospective client has given you all of their spiel of kind of what they're looking for and what they're really struggling with, then you can go into what you offer. So I tend to have a PDF ready at the go. I used to not show it like visually, but now after some feedback from people that I've had discovery calls with, by the way, it would be really great if you also ask for feedback if ever you do get someone from these discovery calls or you don't. When I asked for feedback, even for people that decided not to go with me, it was such an eye-opener for me to be able to really hone in on my discovery call experience and make it a better experience for other people in the future. So I really, really appreciated it. So after some feedback, I now kind of share my screen and show them a PDF of an overview of my services and my packages so that they can visually see kind of what it looks like. I tend to not give out like pricing and packages on my website or outside of the discovery calls because every client is different, and I tend to customize my packages based on what they're looking for. So right now I do, custom hourly packages, and that'll be different pricing. So I have a PDF at the ready, and it gives a great overview of what I offer as well as the pricing and the packages. So that way they feel like very much at ease and they're able to visually see what I offer. So I kind of give a spiel of what I offer, and then I also like to give examples of what I've done with other clients in the past so that they can feel a sense of trust. It's kind of like the same thing as testimonials, like other people have entrusted me with these types of tasks and it has worked for them. So I also like to give a couple of examples of different things I've done in the past. If it's not something that you've done with a client necessarily, you could give examples of something that you've done in a previous job. That's how I started talking about it in the beginning. I would give them some prior experience on different things that I would do in different jobs. And that also gives a great indication of who you are and how you work as a person. So now we're nearing the end of the call. And so you offer up if they have any last minute questions or concerns and what they're kind of thinking of in terms of what they would need. They don't have to give you an answer right away, but the one important thing before you end your call is to what they call close the loop. Now, what does close the loop mean? It means you have something tangible and actionable that you can do after the call is done. So let's say that they're ready to work with you right away. You'll say, okay, great. I'll send you an email with all of the next steps. I'll give a recap of, what we've talked about. And I'll send you an email with all the next steps of what we need. So you're making sure that you're following up and it's not just radio silence. If they are saying, no, like this is not, what I'm thinking of, then you do the same thing. You kind of give a recap if they ever want to look into it in the future, maybe, and you also can send them the feedback form. If they say maybe, which is usually what they say, if they're not entirely sure, you make sure that you say, no problem. I will, give you the whole recap. I would love to follow up with you in 1 week. I can answer any more questions that you have. Make sure that you have something that you can refer back to so that you know that it's not just ghosting and it's not radio silence. It usually goes by pretty fast and it goes really well. So always make sure that you close the loop before finishing off your call. That was a lot of babbling, but I'm pretty sure those were like really the main points that I found the most helpful and the most important when I'm making discovery calls. The one mindset shift that I also want to point out is that once I started thinking of discovery calls as just meeting other business owners and having a great chat and seeing not only if I'm a great fit for them, but if they're a great fit for me, then it reduced a lot of the pressure for me. Instead of, at the beginning, I always wanted to prove that I was, the best. Once you realize that you yourself, your services isn't for everyone anyways, it kind of gives off a little bit of pressure of like, if this doesn't work out, then there's someone else out there for me and I will eventually find my dream client. And the more that I do these discovery calls, the better I'll get at them. So those are all my discovery call secrets. I hope that you enjoyed them and I hope that they are helpful for you in the near future. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.